Good morning, everyone. We'll go ahead and call this actually rescheduled Pipestone County Commissioners Organizational Meeting to order. Please, everyone stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. At this time, we will be doing the swearing in of the elected officials of Pipestone County. I have Judge Terry Vaggard on Zoom, and he will be conducting the oaths of office.
All right, I think what I'll do is I'll call you each individually, and if you could kind of stand maybe where Steve is or near a microphone. And we'll start with Dr. Christensen. All right, good morning. Good morning. If you raise your right hand, please. Okay. And repeat after me. I, Dr. Larry Christensen.
I, Dr. Larry Christensen.
Do solemnly swear.
Do solemnly swear.
That I will support the Constitution of the United States.
That I will support the Constitution of the United States.
And the Constitution of the State of Minnesota.
And the Constitution of the State of Minnesota.
And that I will faithfully and impartially.
And that I will faithfully and impartially.
Discharge the duties.
Discharge the duties.
Of the office of County Coroner for Pipestone County.
For the office of County Coroner for Pipestone County.
To the best of my knowledge and ability.
To the best of my knowledge and ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
All right. Thank you and congratulations.
Thank you.
Demain.
Morning, how are you doing?
Good morning. You raise your right hand. Repeat after me. I, Demain Sandy.
I, Demain Sandy.
Do solemnly swear.
Do solemnly swear.
That I will support the Constitution of the United States.
That I will support the Constitution of the United States.
And the Constitution of the State of Minnesota.
And the Constitution of the State of Minnesota.
And that I will faithfully and impartially.
And I will faithfully and impartially.
Discharge the duties.
Discharge the duties.
Of the office of County Attorney for Pipestone County.
Of the office of County Attorney for Pipestone County.
To the best of my knowledge and ability.
To the best of my knowledge and ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, Demain.
Thank you.
Keith. Good morning. You raise your right hand. Repeat after me. I, Keith Freeman.
I, Keith Freeman.
Do solemnly swear.
Do solemnly swear.
That I will support the Constitution of the United States.
That I will support the Constitution of the United States.
And the Constitution of the State of Minnesota.
And the Constitution of the State of Minnesota.
And that I will faithfully and impartially.
And I will faithfully and impartially.
Discharge the duties.
Discharge the duties.
Of the office of Pipestone County Sheriff.
The office of Pipestone County Sheriff.
To the best of my knowledge and ability.
To the best of my knowledge and ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, Keith.
Thank you.
Daniel. Good morning. Have you raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Daniel Wildemuth.
I, Daniel Wildemuth.
Do solemnly swear.
Do solemnly swear.
That I will support the Constitution of the United States.
That I will support the Constitution of the United States.
And the Constitution of the State of Minnesota.
And the Constitution of the State of Minnesota.
And that I will faithfully and impartially.
And that I will faithfully and impartially.
Discharge the duties.
Discharge the duties.
Of the office of County Commissioner, District 4 in Pipestone County.
Of the office of County
to the best of my knowledge and ability,
to the best of my knowledge and ability.
so help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Your Honor.
And Doug. Morning, Doug. Repeat after me and raise your right hand. I, Doug Nagel,
I, Doug Nagel,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Minnesota,
and the Constitution of the State of Minnesota,
and that I will faithfully and impartially
and I will faithfully and impartially
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
of the office of County Commissioner District 2, Pipestone County,
of the office of County Commissioner District 2, Pipestone County,
to the best of my knowledge and ability,
to the best of my knowledge and ability,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Congratulations, Doug.
Thank you.
I believe that's it. Steve?
Yes, Your Honor, thank you very much, much appreciated.
Before I go, I just want all of you to know that I had to break up the oath in much shorter segments for the Rock County officials, so you did very well. Have a good day.
Thank you. Congratulations, all of our elected officials. Okay, I do have forms here for signature, and then I will get the forms up to court, and then the next time the judge is here, he will sign the bottom, because he's the one who did the oath. So, Dr. Christensen, come up here and sign your name for me, please. Sign on the back there, and then this all up to court, and then give it back to the audience. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Yeah. Absolutely. Keith? Good job. We need supervisor.
As well.
Doug, nice to see you on board.
Thank you.
Thank you for helping. Shake my hand too. My hands are nice and warm. You want to sign right there, please? Doug, you want to sign right there, please? And I'll get the
Just
packet
move
up
to,
to court, and then have the judge sign when he's back, and I'll get your certificates back to you. Thank you.
Thanks.
Congratulations.
No, thank you.
Thanks, Steve.
We should have brought some fireworks.
After
time.
All right, let's get rid of that.
It's an honor.
You could see he was just like pumped.
The little one, or
Yeah.
oh, you people too.
Oh, yeah. But not as much as
Oh, that's right.
he was about ready to explode.
Yep. Right. Held it back.
Okay. Hey. Next item on the agenda is election of chairman and vice chairman.
Nominate Commissioner Wildermuth for chairman.
Okay, have a motion
I'll support that.
Thank you, gentlemen.
nominated. Any further nominations? Are there any further nominations? Third time, are there any further nominations for chair?
Mr. Administrator, move to cease nominations and cast unanimous ballot for Commissioner Wildermuth for board chair.
Okay.
Does that need a second?
Yes.
I'll second that.
Okay. Okay, we have a motion and a second to cease nominations and cast unanimous ballot for Commissioner Wildermuth for chair of 2023. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried unanimously. Commissioner Wildermuth, Chairman Wildermuth, you have the floor.
Thank you very much. Next order of business then is being able to elect our vice chair. So we'll open nominations for vice chair at this point. Yes, Luke.
Chair, I'd nominate Commissioner Roskamp for vice chair.
Second.
Are there any other nominations? Are there any other nominations? Are there any other nominations?
Move nomination cease and cast a unanimous ballot for Commissioner Roskamp.
Thank you, Luke. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to cast a unanimous ballot for vice chair for Dallas Roskamp. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
And opposed, the same. Thank you. Congratulations, Dallas.
Thank you.
Okay, you all have received a copy of the agenda in front of you. Are there any additions or corrections to that agenda?
Mr. Chairman, I have a couple of adjustments here. Let me find my other pages. Too much paper. No, I like highlighted over here, I think. There it is. All right. Mr. Chairman, when we get down to action items, committee appointments for 2023, I have in your packet the extension committee appointments for 2023. There are 2 new members. So I'd like to add that in there to make sure we get those approved by the board by motion. And then also we will have on that a commissioner to be appointed to the opioid settlement committee as being recommended by Southwest Health and Human Services, and you have copies of that on your desk this morning. Next item, get down to the 2023 mileage reimbursement rate. I did unfortunately a fat finger typo on there and I put 0.665, it's actually 0.655 will be the federal rate, 0.655, so if you change that, would be great. And got that taken care of, and those are my changes, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you, Steve.
Mr. Chair, hearing those changes, I'll move the agenda.
Thank you, Chris. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, moved and seconded to approve the agenda as amended. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Thank you. First item, then we need to adopt the rules of procedure of the resolution of 590123. You've got a copy of that in your packet.
Mr. Chairman and board members, all members should have copies of all the resolutions coming forward. This is same resolution as years past. There are no changes to it. I'd recommend adoption by motion of resolution 5901-23, rules of procedure, Pipestone County Commissioners.
Very good. Would entertain a motion. The chair will move that we adopt resolution 590123. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Been moved and seconded. Any further discussion or questions? Hearing none. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? The same. Passed unanimously.
Okay.
Next resolution we have is 5902-2023, and this is in regards to our per diem resolution.
Mr. Chairman, I would recommend that I have a highlighted item under about halfway down township officer meetings and annual meeting. Would like to move that to the area above where it says AMC meetings, countywide economic development, and add township annual meetings to that list
of approved meetings for county board per diem. That's the one opportunity, and you've all mentioned it to me before, that you have to meet with all the township representatives at one time, and it would make sense to add that to it as a meeting. And that occurs once, I believe it's the first week in December every year. So that way you could go to the meetings and per diem for that too, so.
And my understanding is this is nothing new, it's just formalizing what we've done in the past, because before we approved it on an individual basis.
Correct.
Yep. Okay. Okay, would entertain a motion to approve this resolution?
I'll make that a motion.
Dallas, moved and is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Luke, thank you. It's been moved and seconded to approve resolution 5902, 2023. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, the same. Passes unanimously. Thank you. Next resolution we're looking at is 590323, and this is regards to auditor warrants. Steve?
Right. Mr. Chairman and board members, Auditor Treasurer Amanda Sandy reviewed this. She had no changes for 2023. Recommend approval as presented.
Mr. Chair, approve resolution 590323.
Thank you, Chris. Chair will second. It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion or questions? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, passes unanimously. Next resolution is 590423, and this is regards to workers' compensation for elected officials. Steve?
Chairman, this is an annual resolution that must be provided so that county commissioners are covered under workers' comp for the duties that they do for the county in case something would happen. This is an annual, it's been going on forever.
Yep. And my understanding also is this, again, is a technicality because we are not officially employees, but under this resolution,
That
we're
is
covered
correct.
under the workers' comp.
But under workers' comp, you would be considered employees if you were injured in the duties of your job as commissioners.
Very good. We'll entertain a motion.
I'll move that.
And a second.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion or questions? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Same. Passes unanimously. Next resolution, 590523, and this is in regards to the financial institutions that we have our deposits with. Correct, Steve?
Correct. And Auditor Treasurer Amanda Sandy did take some out of there that haven't been used for a number of years, so these are the current ones that we're using at this point. So recommend approval as presented.
Very good. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Okay, thank you.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion or questions? Hearing none. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? The same. Passes unanimously. Next resolution is in regards to annual minimum salaries, resolution number 590623. Steve?
What has changed here is we do not have an elected auditor treasurer and elected recorder on here, so the only other electeds we have on here that would pertain to this are the county attorney and the county sheriff. These are amounts that are set annually by the county board. Statute requires that be done. The amounts that you choose, this has been the same amount since I've been here and many years before that as well. It's a minimum salary. Obviously, can be paid that, but generally you work with the elected officials if they were to take over as to where they were before. But this does allow you latitude in case there was something that was possibly not going the direction you wanted it to go.
And again, as I understand, this is required by state statute that we have an absolute minimum set, which it is, and obviously
That
it
is
doesn't
correct,
reflect
and
worker
the
compensation.
statutes are listed there, 388.18 and 387.20 are the two.
Very
Mr.
good.
Chairman, I have a question.
Yes.
How come the coroner isn't listed on that?
That is not listed as one of the elected
State required,
officials.
state.
State required elected officials to do
Yeah.
that.
Because that compensation is covered
Because
differently.
he was elected and sworn in here.
Right. He's also, there's no compensation for it either.
Yep.
So it's not part of the list.
It's nice that he does it for free.
Okay,
He gets paid for coroner call out.
yes.
Yeah, but not a salary for it.
With that clarification, I'll
Yeah.
move this.
Thank you, Dallas. It's been moved and
Second.
seconded by Luke. Any further discussion or questions? Okay, hearing none, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, the same? Passes unanimously. Next resolution is 590723, and this is for the publication of our legal publications that we have required. So in that, we've got two different papers, so Steve?
Mr. Chairman, I will defer this to Jill from the Edgerton Enterprise to talk about this. John Draper was unable to attend this morning due to a personal commitment he had to attend to, and he contacted Jill, I think, and said she's gonna take care of it, so.
Yep. It's pretty much basically the same as it's been for years. We just go back and forth. A slight rate increase because the cost of everything are up. But Pipestone Star will be the legal paper this year, and we still are the secondary paper. And
Yep.
I believe the rate went up, I believe 50 cents
Yep,
per
that sounds
standard
right.
unit as listed in paragraph 2. It was at $11.50 for 2022.
And again, I understand that this, because we got two papers in the county, and this is the gentleman's agreement that it alternates every other year, so, okay?
Mr. Chair,
Motion?
I'll move, resolution 590723.
Thank you, Chris. Wildermuth will second. Okay, been moved and seconded. Any further discussion or questions? Hearing none, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Anyone opposed, the same?
thank you.
Passed unanimously. Thank you, Jill. Next item is Resolution 590823, Pipestone County Investment Policy. Steve?
Mr. Chairman, this has not been on the list before. This is new. Amanda and I have worked on this and looked it over. And the last time we found that it was acted on was back in 2009, and it was just a motion. And we decided together that this should be a resolution each year where the board looks at it. So every board is familiar with what we're doing going forward. It's not, well, we haven't touched this for a long time. So one thing that talked about, let me find the section here, is,
Section 7.
page is it on? This one. Okay, it'd be the bottom of page 4, section 7, that would like to change the wording where it says majority, and just basically strike that and to place investments through Pipestone County financial institution and brokers, but investing in others as well as according to statute. So we're not limited to, say, 51% or something like that. You can still move it where you want to and where you need to, where we can get the best rates for our money. So this terminology goes back to at least 2006. That was the oldest one I could find. So recommendation would be just to strike the word majority.
The majority.
The majority, and it gives the board and the auditor treasurer latitude to put finances where we need and can hopefully get best investment return on it.
So we'll just make that pencil change now, and then the final
Yes.
copy will be cleaned up that we sign.
Yep.
So everybody's in agreement, understanding what we've done with that pencil change.
I'd move for approval with that change.
Thank you, Luke. It's been moved and is there-
Second.
moved and seconded by Doug then for Resolution 590823. And again, this also refers back to the resolution we had of 590523 that talks about the financial institutions. This is separate from that. This is investment, but the institutions listed separately. So any further questions or discussion?
I just have a question on what is a magic fund?
It's a statewide fund that the different counties and other agencies can invest into. And it's a very liquid fund. They've got good yields on it, and also there's no time limit. You can withdraw that money at any time.
Okay.
And they do have some term parts as well, where there is a time frame.
Yeah.
But some of them, even the short, like 60 or 90-day ones, have a very competitive rate right now.
Yes, it is.
So I mean, it'd be wise to take advantage of some of those.
Who exactly is it administered by? It's not through AMC, is it? Or is it?
I can't think of the name right
Yeah,
offhand.
I know other county commissioners are on the Magic Fund board, so
Yes.
I don't know how that's,
It's for
Through
it's for
MCIT
counties.
Yeah,
MCIT?
it's not necessarily a joint powers thing. I wonder if it isn't administered through AMC.
I was thinking through MCIT maybe.
Oh, that could be, you know,
I don't think it's through AMC.
MCIT, that would make sense.
Okay, I'll just, let's
Maybe,
see.
Maybe they do.
It's Minnesota Association of Governments Investing for Counties, MAGIC. That's the terminology. And it's been in effect since 1990. And they have,
Historically, when rates are good, their rates are better. When rates are poor though, and they have been for a number of years, of course, then they were very poor. I mean, they were out of the market.
Yep.
But recently, they've been significantly higher than we can get anywhere.
Board I sit on CPT has invested in them recently too, so for the same reasons.
I think most of our various joint powers and other boards
They-
have investments in them.
And they did 3 different ones too, the 60, 90, and
Yep.
180, so.
Southwest Health and Human Services utilizes it and so forth.
Yeah, they will generally have sessions at conferences and things, AMC conferences as well. But they provide instruments tailored to the specific needs of Minnesota counties and county instrumentalities, investing only in instruments permitted under Minnesota law. So
Okay.
it's very strict, but Commissioner Johnson's correct, they generally can get a little higher interest rate too. And generally can be short-term rates, whatever you need.
Yep.
So,
I don't believe we've got a motion on the floor yet, do we, Kathy? Was there a motion made yet?
Yes.
Yes, the investment
Was-
policy, Commissioner Johnson, Commissioner Nagel seconded with change on page 4.
Okay, very good, thank you for that.
So-
Any further discussion or questions, anyone? Okay, hearing none, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, the same? Passes unanimously, thank you. Okay, I think that takes care of all of the resolutions, does it not? So,
That is correct.
next item then we have got is setting the commissioner meeting date, times, and locations. As you know, historically, we've always gone the second and the third Tuesday of each,
Second and fourth.
excuse me, second and fourth. 9 o'clock, and the official place here is at the courthouse in this room. And then also the fourth Tuesday, we have our hospital board of education, and that's at the Ashton meeting room at the hospital.
Mr. Chair, and I have no recommendation to change the meeting dates and times.
Okay. Would entertain a motion then to ratify this?
So moved.
It's been moved and seconded to maintain the same schedule we've had in the past. Any further questions or discussions? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
And anyone opposed? Passes unanimously. Next item is Board of Adjustments and Equalization. Steve?
Mr. Chairman, I conferred with Assessor Smith and recommended either the 12th or 13th. Prior history has led us to the first Monday it's allowed, which last year it was June 13th on Monday. She recommended we go with June 12th, the Monday in June we could have the meeting. It fits into their schedule. So recommendation is to set it for June 12th, 2023, 7 p.m. in the Commissioners' Room for the County Board of Adjustment and Equalization.
Okay, very good. I will move that recommendation. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, thank you. It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion or questions? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Passes unanimously. Okay. Next on our agenda then is the committee appointments. You all received a copy of last year's committee assignments. And now with Les Nath having retired and Doug Nagel having come on board, we'll certainly want to review through these. Generally, the practice has been is that the oncoming person normally takes the bulk of what the previous commissioner had. But at the same time, if any of you have anything that you would like to adjust or change, it certainly is by consensus that we come up with this. So, you guys, should we just go through them one by one? Would that be the simplest way?
I think that would be good.
Okay, very good. First one on the list then is the Southwest Regional Solid Waste Board. Commissioner Johnson serves as the primary on that, and then I am the alternate on that. This meets over at SRDC quarterly, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Yep. Okay. Luke, you willing to continue to serve in that capacity? Yep. Anyone else have an interest in jumping into that? If not, we'll leave that as is. Okay.
I'm sorry, which one were you on?
That is the top one here, Southwest
over there.
Regional
I'm
Solid
sorry.
Waste Board.
I was,
Oh, looking on the side here. Yep. Going by the committee itself. Yep.
okay, gotcha.
Then on conjunction with that, also, we have our own county-wide solid waste committee as well, which is a duplicate of what we have at the regional. So we'll continue on that capacity as well, too. Okay. Noxious Weeds and Appeals Board, Luke, and then now was Les an alternate, or was that Cole?
I think we're both on there.
Cole, that is a Cole on that, okay. And how often does that meet, Luke?
It's just as needed, and some years they don't meet at all. and
Pretty infrequently.
Occasionally they meet, once a year or something. It's hardly ever.
And I would take that if,
Okay,
Sure.
that'd be great. Anyone else, any opinion on that? Okay. Next one is District 8 Land Use. Luke, Luke is primary on that, and Dallas is the alternate on that. And again, annually, have you been meeting quarterly?
They
on that?
meet quarterly, yeah.
The term is annual, yeah.
I'll change that. If you notice, there are changes to the terms. It's an annual term, they meet quarterly, correct?
Yeah.
So we're good.
Any opinions about changing that? If not, we'll leave that as it is. Okay. Next one then is RCRCA Area 2. Could you give us some insight on this, Luke? You are primary on that, and Dallas is the
Yeah,
secondary.
usually it's whoever's in that northeast corner, cause that's the part that's affected by it. You know, the Redwood watershed.
Yeah.
And yeah, I chair that board and I've been on there as long as I've been commissioner.
And that pertains then specifically to the acronym.
Yeah, it's Redwood Cottonwood Rivers Control Area, which basically relates to those two watersheds of the Redwood and Cottonwood rivers. And Area 2 is a 9-county board that does water retention projects. RCRCA is an 8-county board. And Lac Parle's in Area 2, but they're not in RCRCA. But RCRCA mostly does water monitoring, and of course they did that dredging project in Lake Redwood. And then Area 2 mostly does water retention projects.
Very good, thank you. The next one then, we've got Missouri River Watershed Partnership, again, with somewhat connected here, is it not, Luke? If you give us
Yeah, it's a different watershed, but it's a 6-county board, and they meet as needed, and, you know, basically spend the money that they get from the state, do various feedlot improvements and things within the watershed to enhance water quality.
Good. And you're willing to stay primary, and
Yep.
Dallas will stay secondary, or alternate, excuse me. And my apologies, we should probably go to the left-hand column there. I kind of jumped past that left-hand column on that first sheet. So again, planning and zoning then, Dallas,
Mr. Chairman, I'd recommend Kyle Kerr come forward for this discussion, please.
thank you.
If you've got any questions, we do have a few members that they serve a 3-year term. And so their 3-year terms are up, but they're eligible to do a 3 consecutive 3-year terms. So on the planning commission, we have Travis Dethels, I always pronounce his name wrong, sorry, and Gary Bovey, who are up for renewing their terms. And on the Board of Appeals, we have Kurt and Travis also, Kurt Johnson and Travis Deathless, for renewals there also.
And they're willing to continue.
Yep, I've contacted them. They're all willing to continue serving for another 3-year term. And I don't know if you have all that list, or if you know, they represent multiple townships in most cases. So each member serves about 2 townships, and then we have 1 planning commission member representing the cities. So those are the recommendations for the planning commission and Board of Appeals.
Very good. And then also Board of Adjustments then, you said that's part of that planning and zoning, so that's together?
Yes, Board of Adjustment, Board of Appeals is kind of, same thing, so.
Okay, very good. Next item down then is the Environmental Office. Now, we had Les on there as an alternate. So then, Doug, would you be willing to step in that
Yes,
position
I
as
would,
alternate?
yeah.
And then Luke, you'll stay primary
Yep.
on that? Okay. One of the nice things about having that primary and alternate is for transition, for continuity as we go forward. So you got a little bit of an idea what's going on as well too. Next item we got then is the Pipestone. Thank you. Pipestone Area Alcohol Coalition. This is a coalition from a grant that Southwest Health and Human Services received a couple years ago, and I've been serving on that. We meet with Ashley Gustafson at the school quarterly, and I think we've talked about that in the past. Any questions on what we've done with that? Okay, moving to the next sheet then. Lincoln County Ditch 16, Luke.
Yeah, they've only met once in all the years I've been on it.
Okay.
Just as needed.
Then the Ditch Committee, Luke, you'll stay on the Ditch Committee for us?
Yep.
Okay. Gary Griebel, I see he's highlighted. Do we-
Gary will be leaving the ditch committee. He has requested to retire from that. We do not have a replacement for him yet, so I will bring that back to the board for action when we
Okay.
get a replacement for him.
So then will the other members of the ditch committee recruit for that, or how do we
But
recruit?
we're trying to do that, yeah.
just
It'd be nice
recruit.
to have someone who's in the area that is in the ditch system,
Yeah,
that has interest specifically in knowledge and
and obviously,
get the younger people on there to do these. You know, youngest person we have on there right now is like Tom. So we need we need another ditch viewer out
Yep.
there.
and to my knowledge, Gary has been on this committee forever. I think back when the ditch was dug, back in the 1800s, maybe.
I'm pretty sure his father and grandfather were probably involved in it somehow back then too. So
Appreciate all the work you've done over the years with that. so.
definitely.
Okay, extension then, any changes on the extension committees?
Mr. Chairman, I have, in your packet here, we have 2 new members coming on, and this will be a motion item for this. Carol Scotting and Lindsay Prunty were elected by the committee in December, and their terms would be 1/1 of '23 to 12/31 of '25. I request a motion to accept those 2
Who's
members.
going off?
Audrey Fritz and Alan Vanderlet,
Yep.
they termed out, so
Yep.
they're ineligible.
Yeah, Audrey and Alan are off now, and Jeremy is on his second term.
Very good.
What was the second new one, Steve?
Lindsay Prunty.
Okay.
Linsey Prunty.
And do we have to act on those 2 names?
Yes.
Individually first and then add them to this list? Okay,
You can take them both at the same time.
okay. So it's been recommended then by Steve that we appoint Lindsay Prunty and
Carol Scotting.
Carol Scotting to the Extension Committee. Is there
I'll move for approval.
it's been moved, is there been a second?
I'll second.
Moved and second, any further discussion or questions? Hearing none, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Those 2 individuals are approved unanimously, so they'll be included then onto the Extension Committee.
Thank you for that. And as far as changes go, I'll update with the dates and everything and bring it back to the board to review. So Alan Vanderloot is off and Kent Vanderloot is on in his stead, so. And
And then
Judy
the
DeRuyter and
commissioners-
Chrissy Debates are still on.
So then the commissioners' representation on that Extension Committee then are Chris Hollingsworth and then Les Nath was. So Doug, are you willing to step into that?
Yeah, I would stay on that, yeah.
Okay, any other ideas, thoughts from anyone? No, okay, we'll continue on then.
That's a fun one.
That's a fun one.
Yeah.
Next one we have is Fair Board. Dallas is on the Fair Board and Les was on the Fair Board. And again, these aren't primary, secondary, these are co-equal. So again, Doug, you want to step into that Fair Board position or has
I
anybody
sure
else
can.
got a?
Yeah,
you
good.
got- Okay,
Okay.
that would be great. Very good. SRDC Region 8. Chris, you're our representative on that.
Yes, sir.
Are you willing to continue in that capacity?
Yep.
Anyone else want to get involved? No. Okay, Minnesota Rural Counties, Luke is primary on that, and then the rest of the board is also alternate on that. We joined Minnesota Rural Counties, has it been 4 years now, I think?
Think about that.
Something like that, Luke, so, okay. And you've had a change in that recently where Dan Larson, who had originated that, is now retired.
Right.
Now, have you elected a new chair, or actually, have you hired a new chair
Yeah,
at
we have
this
a new
point?
firm that's
Firm.
working with us now, and it's actually 4 people that are doing the work that Dan used to do
Mm-hmm.
for the same money, so it's kind of a bonus to have a lot more.
And our annual dues for that were like 2,500, if I remember
I
right.
think
2,200.
2,200,
Yeah.
okay, okay. And do those come up calendar on that then, or when are our dues due on that? Is it,
Yeah, I think it's.
I just got the invoice, so it's being processed for January bills.
if Luke, you're willing to continue in that capacity and you feel
Yeah, I'd chair that
benefit
committee.
for us at that point, we'll continue with that. So, okay. Right-hand column, IT committee, Chris and Les were both co-equal members of that, now with Les having retired, so, Doug, you willing to step into that IT?
I can,
Yeah,
and, you know, if someone else would like to, but I can.
okay, good, very good, thank you. Casey Jones Trail, both myself and Chris are the 2 commission representatives from that, county commission representative, and again, we're co-equal on that. And along with that, Mick Myers. Now, Mick is still very involved with that Casey Jones Trail. In fact, this, as you know, this goes back to the 70s. This was the first state designated trail, and we continue to work on expanding that
Last
trail.
funded.
But the last funded, exactly. And as you know, a couple years ago, we found out secondhand that we'd been classified as a secondary trail, and that was a blow to us. We said, how did that happen? So we continue on that. So Chris, are you willing to continue with me on
Absolutely.
that? Great.
Accomplished a lot over the last 6 years.
Well, yes, we have, and we're continue to push that. Explore Southwest. Chris and myself are co-equal on that, and Eric Volkers from the chamber is on that as well too. Any thoughts, Chris? Any reason to change anything at all, or?
No, they're going to be unveiling their website here pretty soon to, I believe, to the county. I'm not sure if they're going to bring it to the board or not. So they partnered with SRDC, which is helping them move everything along, organizing meetings and doing all the digital content. So it's been very well.
Very good. We'll continue that.
And I believe our dues are paid through this year. If I'm
Correct.
Yeah.
Yep, we're paid.
Southern Minnesota Tourism. Mick Myers, obviously having been the chamber director for years, this was one of the things that he had worked on for many years, and he still has been even though he's retired from the chamber, he still stayed actively involved in this. So I would recommend that we continue to have Mick represent Pipestone County in that. Okay. Private Industry Council. Les was on this council. Steve, could you give us a little synopsis of what all is involved in it? I got to be honest, I don't really know the scope of what Private Industry Council
I
does.
honestly don't either.
Yeah.
Did Doug,
Well,
Les kind of tell you
I
about
did
it?
go with Les to the December meeting,
Good.
but no expert at all yet by any means. But they work with the counties to promote employment of like people that have trouble getting a job, that type of thing. So
Something similar to what we have like at Progress Incorporated and so forth. And,
It's
A
like
little
for
more than
people
that.
that get laid off and then
Oh,
they
okay.
help them
Yeah.
maybe get retrained, or
Yeah.
it's more like with training and helping people become employed that aren't
see.
either aren't employed or get laid off.
He's mentioned attaining different job skills, that type of thing for different jobs.
Very good. Are you willing to
Yeah,
continue
I
in that
would be on that,
capacity?
yes.
Very good. Thank you, Doug. Prime West Health Insurance, and
Yeah,
again, the health
that should
insurance.
actually be just Prime Health Insurance is the
I'll
name
change
of
that.
it.
Yeah, take the West out, it's Prime Health.
Correct.
Yeah, because otherwise it gets really confused with the others, so Prime Health. And again, has it been 4 years ago now that Prime West has extended to Prime Health for county employees as well
This is
too.
actually gonna be our 6th year now.
6 years, it's been that long.
Yep.
Wow, it's amazing how quick that time has gone. I know when it first started, it was having set on that Prime West as an alternate. It was concerning at the time, can we take on this load and so forth, and it's been very, very beneficial, very, very successful. So, are you willing, Luke, you and
Oh, yeah.
Chris, to continue on that? Again, you're the primary on that, Chris is the alternate. So, okay. Rural Minnesota Energy Board, that meets over at SRDC in Slayton. I'm the primary on that. Dallas is secondary on that. Work with things such as wind, solar, even had some discussion about this CO2 pipeline here recently. And in fact, I happened to see that yesterday that PUC did approve that first, they approved the application for it. So it's getting the process started for a CO2 pipeline. It was up in the northwestern part of the state. That's where we're looking at this first one. So they're going to be looking for some public input. So, but in any case, I'm willing to stay on that board. Are you willing to stay as my alternate? Thank you. Okay, Emergency 911. Les had been had been primary on that, and then Dallas has been the alternate on that. Going forward at this point, Dallas, are you willing to continue to work with that group?
You want to switch primary?
That's what I was wondering. I was going to suggest that again.
I
for
am
continuity.
familiar with the 911.
You
with
are.
my county experience. So I would
Okay,
like
go
to
ahead.
be on that.
Yeah,
Go ahead, take it.
Would you like to be primary or would you like to be alternate?
I would, yes.
You like to be primary?
Yes.
Okay, and you're fine with that?
Yeah.
Okay, very good. Thank you for your support on that. Okay. Armed Services, this is something that a number of years ago, we had our first representation. I was appointed to that. I'm willing to continue in that capacity.
Mr. Chairman, you skipped the radio board.
Oh, okay, pardon me. Yep. Radio board primary is Les, and then I've been the secondary on that. To be honest, I've only ever attended one meeting as the alternate on that with the radio board. I don't really have a lot of firsthand knowledge about that. And Doug, would you be willing to step into the primary position on that?
Yes, again, a little bit of experience on that, so yes, I would, yeah.
Because having, in your capacity with the highway department, you
Yeah.
had worked with this radio board already.
Some.
Okay. Anyone else interested in being involved as the alternate? Like I said, my involvement has been minimal at this point. I will stay on, but if anybody else would rather, Dallas, do you like to step into that alternate or not necessarily? Okay, I'll stay as alternate then. Thank you for catching that I had skipped that. I didn't realize I skipped over radio board. In Armed Services, I'll stay on that. I'm a veteran. Anybody else a veteran? Are you a veteran, Dallas? No. So I'll continue in that capacity. City County Law Enforcement Liaison. Both Chris and I are co-equal on that. We meet quarterly then with the Sheriff's Department. And through COVID and so forth, we hadn't met for a while, like everything this last 2 years has been a little bit disjointed, but we'll continue with that. There also is representation from the lay people and also from the city council has a representative on that as well too. So
I think they have two.
two lay persons?
Two
county,
city council.
or two city.
City
Yep.
council.
Yep. I'm willing to continue. Are you willing to continue?
Absolutely.
Very good. Thank you.
I think we have to from our districts, if I remember that correctly.
I think so. Yep. Okay, Southwest Drug Task Force. Dallas and Les were co-equal on that. Doug, are you willing to step into that?
As the alternate?
As the alternate?
As the alternate.
As the alternate.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's right. I misspoke. That was a primary alternate. Okay. And Dallas, you're willing to continue? Okay. Law Library, Luke?
I was not on there. It's whoever's the board chair is.
Oh, board chair, I see. And again, I don't think there's ever any action taken on this law library. I think, again, it's one of those
Either
technicalities.
meet once a year or not at all.
When I was chair, I met one time on it. So.
Yep, I think all as chairperson, we all been through that. So, yep, so we'll strike Luke's name and
I'm just gonna leave that blank going forward and list it as board chair.
Yeah.
just put in board chair. That would be a good way to do
I'll
that.
just move that over there, so it just states that.
Next item then is the Joint County City School Liaison. Both Chris and I serve on that as co-equals. And again, I don't believe we've had a meeting this year at all on that, but we'll continue to represent if a need comes forward. Okay. Plum Creek Library Board, Dallas and Les. Les was the alternate on that. I know Les did attend those meetings with you.
No,
He never did. Yep. So you've been taking those on your own. Do you meet quarterly?
Oh, yeah. We've been meeting pretty regularly.
Yep.
I'm on the executive board also of that system, so
Very good. Appreciate if you'd be willing to continue on that.
I'll stay on.
Doug, would you be willing to be alternate on that? Or where Les have been at?
Yes, I can do that, yeah.
Now, does this have, now again, this is Plum Creek, does this have anything to do with our Friends of the Library as well too? Are we represented there? It's really two separate groups, I realize that, but is there any carryover?
Nope.
Okay, okay. With the Friends of the Library, the county does contribute to the library. Is it $3,500?
We appropriate funds to both Edgerton and Pipestone libraries.
Yeah.
We have to provide in excess, I believe the number is 46,868 was the state amount.
Between the two.
Yeah, and we're giving more than that.
Yeah.
You've increased that over the years. Pipestone, I'll check it out. Pipestone's getting by, I believe, 46, and Edgerton's getting about 28, somewhere in there, and then we do 32.50 to Plum Creek.
That's where I was thinking, the 32. I had that in my head. So, is there any reason for us to have a commissioner designated to those boards because of the money we give to them, or just leave it like it is? It's run by citizen boards.
Correct.
Southwest Health and Human Services Board, Les and myself are both co-equal on that, but the way it's set up is it's two separate entities. It's Human Services and Public Health. I represent the Public Health part of that. And then also, so when we have those meetings, they're actually three separate meetings. We have the Public Health meeting, we have the Human Services meeting, and then we have a Governance Board meeting. So both representatives are on the governance board, and then we split those other duties out. I'd be willing to stay on as public health. Doug, I think you came to one of our meetings. You got a
I
little bit of an idea what
attended
that's
with
about.
Les last month, yes, and I would take that.
Thank you, appreciate that. Okay.
Any changes to the Steve Schultz's lay board member? Is he still
Yes,
willing
yes,
to
there
serve?
is. Thank you for bringing that up. Steve has contributed greatly to that, but in the last, especially through COVID, with some of the other demands he's had with children, grandchildren, and so forth, he hasn't been able to attend the meetings. And he said that he would be willing to go ahead and relinquish that. And Les has showed an interest in continuing on that, and that continuity would be very good. So I would really like to see Les continue on that. And he said that he is willing to do that. So if that's all right with all you guys.
You bet.
Okay, we'll go ahead and change that. Thank you.
Okay, now the Prime West Health. Les has been the primary on that for the last 6 years, I think, since Jerry Raymond had left the board. And that's when I started as alternate. I am willing to move up into that primary position. And then Doug, if you're willing to step into that alternate position, there is a bit of a learning curve with this one.
Yeah, and Dan and I had talked about the alternate and primary, so, yeah.
Good with that. Great. Southwest Mental Health Board, in light of the fact that we're dissolving that, I think we can just strike that one altogether, don't you, at this point?
Correct.
And not knowing the future, because right now, Western area is going to be taking care of our mental health needs, but we're not officially part of that board. So as this evolves, so maybe in a few months or this year, when that solidifies, we might at that time then reappoint members to that board, making that assumption that we will have board representation on that.
Yeah, it seems like, go ahead, I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say, last night I did comment if we do get involved with that and there is a lay person or public person appointed, he would be interested in being appointed, so.
Who would be?
Les Knapp.
Les would be, to be, as a layperson, that would be terrific. Yep. Whereas Jerry had served that
Yep,
capacity before.
exactly.
Okay. Very good.
So was this Southwest Mental Health Board,
We're-
it's just.
We're
not-
just gonna let it
nothing
dissolve
right
at this
now?
point, yeah, because as of yesterday, we're no longer part of Southwest.
Yep, Pipestone County has left Southwest
All right,
Yep.
Southwest Mental Health Board, and we're gonna be working Western Community Health.
okay.
Yep. So we'll just strike that from our committee assignments at this point, and then we'll see how that evolves.
Yeah, in 23, it'll be more of a pay as we go for billings and services through them. And probably towards the end of this year into 24, possibly joining as a member to them, whatever the board decides to do once we have that. But probably closer to 24, where we'll deal with that the way it's, what Les was telling me about it anyway.
Good. Southwest Minnesota Opportunity Council, I have been the primary on that for 8 years. Evan Schiller and Jerry Priester are both lay persons representatives for us on that, although actually they are voting members of that board down there at South. And that Southwest Opportunity Board is made up of both providers and also recipients of that as well too. So this meets every month down at Worthington. As you know, this also has to do with our Head Start program we've talked about before with the building school and so forth. So I'm willing to continue on that. Nurse Family Partnership. Chris, you've been our primary on that. I've been the alternate. I haven't been involved at all. Has your involvement, do you meet quarterly?
Yep. And I attend them, so.
Very good. Any need for the alternate to be more involved, to get up to speed on that? Not really.
Not with that one, especially since we wouldn't be able to vote.
Yeah, it's pretty straightforward on that, so good. Any time that you
It's just
feel
informative, you know, to go, but
Yeah.
other than that, yeah, it's.
Very good. Well, I'm willing to continue as alternate. If you stay as primary, that'd be great.
Yep.
Okay, our Health Insurance Committee. Okay, so Luke and Dallas are the two commissioner representatives on that, and they are appointed annually, and they meet as needed. Generally, you meet that during negotiation periods, don't you? So usually that's just once a year.
Well, each year when they, we look at whatever insurance we're gonna
Contracts.
provide,
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, Tom Haig has retired from the county and recommend we add Brian Danks as a member of law enforcement to that. And then Justin Schroyer is no longer with the county. We're recommending that Kelsey Seiler represent the jailer dispatchers in that capacity, and then strike Tyler on the bottom, and of course add Amanda, please.
So for Tom and Justin's replacement, then Brian Danks, and the second one was,
Kelsey, Kelsie, Seiler, Sieler.
and does that take specific action, or we can do that on consensus?
Let's do that when we do the extension committee was the one who wanted specific action done on a specific motion.
Okay. So Dallas and Luke, you're willing to continue in that
Oh, yeah.
capacity? Okay, building committee, both Les and I were co-equal on that. I'm willing to continue with Les having retired. Doug, you willing to step into that
Yes,
position?
I'd like to, yeah.
Okay, is that fine with everybody else?
Mm-hmm.
Very good. Personnel committee then, so Les being gone now, is that board chair position, or is that at large?
No, just anyone.
Okay, so Doug, would you be willing to step into that personnel committee for
Yes.
work that Chris had
Yes, I would,
vacated?
yeah.
Mr. Chairman, I just have a comment on that. Nothing against Commissioner Nagel at this point, but having the same commissioners on union negotiations and the personnel as we're going into negotiations makes sense that those people are the same.
Same,
Just you have continuity there of what's going on. We don't have to change things up because those two intertwine quite deeply in this. Kathy, you agree with that? So recommendation would be for the personnel committee to have Luke on that, and then also on union negotiations, and then Chris on union, so Chris and Luke on union negotiations, and Chris and Luke on personnel committee.
right, yeah, and that's just
Would certainly use Doug as an alternate.
alternate, yeah, and that was gonna be my suggestion, and I was gonna ask Luke if he'd be willing to do that. I assume
Yep,
that you
that's
would, so we'll move you, and again, it just makes sense, again, for continuity, move the alternate into the primary. So you'll move into the primary to replace Les, and then Doug, you'll go in as alternate then.
Okay.
Okay. Safety committee, so Chris, you've been our representative from the board on that. Willing to continue? Okay. No other changes in any of our other county personnel on there?
No, not at this time.
Okay. So then union negotiations that we already touched on, so again, we'll cross off Les on that. On union, and then Chris will be on union, is that correct?
Yep.
Yes.
So get my feet wet.
Finance committee is all five of the commissioners,
Correct.
along with auditor, treasurer, administrator, and then Brad Burris from the hospitals on that finance committee as well. Okay. AMC voting delegates, again, all five of us are. And then also Steve is administrator, and Nick, highway engineer, and Amanda is treasurer auditor. She also is appointed as a voting delegate for their various categories. AMC policy committees, again, we kind of break into the different groups. I've got the Health and Human Services, Chris, Transportation. General Government had been last before. Then Luke, your Environment and Natural Resources, and Dallas Public Safety. So no reason to change any of that. So other than asking Doug if he would step into that General Government position
Yes,
as
yeah.
the voting delegate. Okay. MCIT delegates, Chris is primary, I'm alternate on that, annual meeting. I have not been to an annual meeting, alternate.
It's always at the AMC annual
It's always
meeting.
the MC.
That's why I missed some of them other breakaway sessions because I got to go to the MCIT annual. So.
Yep, very good. Want to continue in that capacity?
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you. Road and Bridge Committee, Chris and Luke, co-equal on that?
The audit committee?
Oh, I did, thank you. Audit Committee then, Luke is, as a board chair, so
and
that'll be
vice
board chair.
chair.
Can we change that wording on that too?
Sure,
Steve,
we'll just
make
change
that
it to board chair and vice chair and
Yep.
leave the names off.
Yep, that'd be a lot
And then we'll-
simpler.
Obviously Amanda.
Yep, so Tyler is stricken out, put in Amanda, so that cleans that one
Yep.
up. Road and Bridge Committee, we had Chris and Luke. I guess there's one area I'd like to discuss, again, with Doug's experience in the highway department. What do you three think? Doug, you willing to step into that, or you want to keep some separation? Up to you
Well,
guys.
no, I mean, they can, if they want to stay on it,
Yep.
that's fine.
Stay on.
You'd like to stay? Chris, you'd like to stay?
Yeah, I've enjoyed it. Yep.
Very good, we'll leave that as
Back
is.
up to the audit committee, please.
Oh, okay, back to the audit committee.
Was Was I replacing Les on that?
Vice chair, we actually
I will
struck,
be.
yep,
No, you will be, okay.
that's where we actually changed the wording on it, because that rotates every year with chair, vice chair. So instead of actually putting the names in there,
So Luke is board chair.
I'll be board chair now.
Oh, I'm sorry,
And
I
then-
get it.
And then
Okay.
Dallas will be the
Dallas is the
vice
vice chair?
chair.
Okay,
Yep.
gotcha.
It helps, so it's not so confusing to actually put that wording in there, though.
Sure.
Did we miss anything?
Last page, one more page. Starts with Southwest 18 Consortium.
There we go. And this is Mental Health Consortium, and everybody on Southwest Health Human Services, all of the counties, the 6 counties of Southwest Health Human Services also have a representative on that. So I've served on that, so I'm a representative for Southwest Health Human Services, but also for the governance part. Each one of the 6 counties have as a representative on that as well too. So I serve in both capacities, and I'm willing to continue that as well too. There's always been a little bit, in my mind, a little bit of overlap on this between Southwest 18 Mental Health Consortium, 18 counties, and what we had done with Southwest Mental Health. It was always a little bit confusing, so now that is going to be a little bit clearer as well too. So
Do they meet, how often do they meet? I don't have anything
Annually.
listed. That's just an annual meeting?
well,
Or do you meet quarterly, biannually, or as needed, or?
the consortium, the 18 county consortium, then as a representative from Southwest Health and Services, I meet that monthly. That's always on the second Friday of every month. But then the annual meeting, where each one of the governance from each one of the 18 counties is there as well too. That's annually. So it's kind of a little bit of both.
So it's monthly and annually?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, need a little bit of input on this next one, the Rock Pipestone Collaborative. Les was on that board. I'm not really familiar with what that collaborative, what was involved there. Yeah.
Oh,
Do you
yeah.
have any history on that at all?
Let's have to say anything to you
I
about it?
don't.
It's something to do with family service type programs, and I don't think they meet very often, but since you're on Health and Human Services, it'll go along with.
That'll dovetail right into that.
Yeah.
Yep. So if you'd be willing to step into that, Doug,
Yeah.
great.
I'm just gonna put as needed on there for
Yeah.
meeting date and time.
Yep. Counties providing technology. Chris and Les have both been co-equal partners on that. Now with Les having retired, Doug, are you willing to step into that, or does anybody else have?
Monthly, up in Morris,
Yeah, yeah.
4th Monday of the month. in
Yeah.
Morris.
So if you're
Yeah,
willing,
I could, as the alternate.
As alternate, I hit 10, pretty much 10, every one of them. pretty
Yeah.
much, so.
You do? Okay,
I think Les only had 10 too, and one was on Zoom, so.
okay.
I was so glad when you came on board and took that responsibility from me, because I had been on that board previously, and you certainly know a lot more about technology than I do. Thank you for serving that capacity.
Looking forward to it. So.
Southwest Safe Roads Coalition. So Chris and myself as the alternate, don't know a lot
It's
about
kind
it.
of more gone quarterly lately. It was monthly when it first started, but
The other members then stay the same, then Casey and Keith and Nick are all still there.
Chris, is
as
that
well.
also the TZD group, Towards Zero Deaths
Yep.
group?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
The next item we got listed here is the Veterans Memorial. Can this be merged just with veterans?
With the armed services,
The armed services, there's a need to have 2 separate ones?
So this was added as the county was working and you were being approached by the committee
Yeah.
to do something, and we appointed 2 commissioners
To
be
represent
on
us on that,
to
yeah,
represent the county on that,
yeah. And,
especially when they were looking at different county properties at
Properties,
the
yeah.
time. Was very important to do that.
Yeah.
Renee is still active on that, so she's a county representative through Veteran Service, so she is there.
right.
We can actually add her name on the list, so.
What I'm wondering is, do we need to have this split out from armed services? Is this and armed services one and the same, or do we need to keep it 2 separate ones?
I don't know anything really about the Armed Services Committee, if there's ever been a meeting or not. I don't know what
I guess I always thought it was one and the same. I didn't realize it was two separate ones, so. Well, why don't we leave it listed
would recommend
separately like
leaving
it
it.
is now, and I'll stay as primary on that, and I don't know, Doug, if you'd want to be involved.
It's not primary, there's just two of you there that
There's just
represent the
two of us there.
counties.
Yeah,
So
no,
it's-
I can take
Stay
that.
on that as well, too.
And hopefully we'll figure it out and get it done.
Get that thing built, that's right.
Okay, so we'll change that to Doug then, perfect.
And we already, the monthly meetings will lead that, we've already taken action on that. So on the right-hand column, then we got the transit committee, both Dallas and I serve on that transit committee, and Steve Ewing also as our administrators involved in that, so I'm willing to stay, you willing to stay? Yep. That meets quarterly. It was a little bit more involved back when we had our own Pipestone County Transit, but now that we're part of it, Community Action Partners, it's more of an advisory type thing now. We don't really have a lot of governance involved there any longer. AMC Research Committee, Luke, can you tell us what that's about? And that's a
Yeah,
two-year term.
I've been on that since it began, and recently was appointed to chair that committee, and we do various research projects for AMC and work with interns occasionally, and they have a big data, they call it the data pile on their website. If you want to just look up statistics for different things, that's available. And they had 3 intern projects this last year, and those projects are also on their website. So yeah, it's just a variety of kind of research related activities.
You're willing to continue in that capacity?
Yeah, yeah.
Very good. Next one is Highway 23 Coalition. We've been involved in this for a few years now, since its conception.
Yeah.
You and
going
Chris
good.
represent us on that, so. Judicial Ditch Flood Task Force, Luke, Chris, and Steve. Do you meet annually on this?
Just as
As
needed.
needed.
Oh,
Yeah.
and you're willing to continue in that capacity?
I'd recommend that stay, especially since we now have the new FEMA flood maps coming out. There will be some more activities going on with that, working with FEMA Corps of Engineers,
Yep.
possibly looking at some mitigation efforts for the ditch.
A lot of snow.
We got a lot of snow.
Yep.
Hope it's a slow melt.
Slow melt, that's right, a slow melt. One that we don't have listed on here from last year that we just entered into this year is the ACE committee as well too, and I've been the representative for that, so we should probably add that to here. And I guess we could appoint an alternate if we thought need be, but it meets so infrequently, it's up to you guys, if anybody wants to be an alternate on
They
that.
recommend having a second person or anything?
They hadn't, no,
Okay.
so.
If they do, I guess I'd be interested.
Well, why don't we just go ahead, let's formalize that, let's go ahead and list Chris then as alternate for that as well too.
Got it.
That'd be great. Did we miss anything else? Anybody can think of any other areas that we get
Kathy,
involved?
anything we missed?
No.
Okay.
I'd move to approve the committee assignments for 2023.
Very good. It's been moved and, is there a second? Moved and
Doug,
seconded?
Doug.
Okay. Doug was the second on that.
Doug did? Okay.
Yep. Okay, any further discussion or questions? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Passes unanimously. Thank you guys.
Provide us with a new one of these.
Yep, I'll get you a new one. Thank you. I don't know if I'll have time to get it for Tuesday's meeting. We've got a really short window here, get stuff done before Tuesday, so I'll more towards the end of the month and get it back to you and take a look at it again.
Okay.
Thank you for that.
I'd move to approve the planning commission and appeals board appointments that Kyle recommended earlier.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve the recommendation of Kyle for those appointments. Any further discussion or questions? Hearing none, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, the same, passes unanimously. Transportation Projects website publication.
Missed the AMC committee appointments.
Okay. Oh, okay, the AMC committee appointments. I thought we did AMC committee appointments.
We did it on the committee sheet. This is
On
just
committee
a
sheets.
review for the sheet. What I have down for 2023, I obviously need to send this back to AMC, so Environment and Natural Resources, Commissioner Johnson; General Government, Commissioner Nagel; Health and Human Services, Commissioner Wildermuth; Public Safety, Commissioner Roskamp; Transportation Infrastructure, Commissioner Hollingsworth. And AMC voting delegates, just to run through the list again, all 5 commissioners: Dan, Doug, Luke, Dallas, and Chris; Nick, myself, and Amanda would round out the 8th, same as we did last year.
So our action on committee assignments satisfies that, or would you like to have a separate one for clarification? It's fine like it is. Okay,
You move for approval.
Support.
okay. Moved and seconded then, and this is for committee assignments, is that what you're saying?
For AMC for the year
AMC.
2023.
So we are taking
This is
separate
an
action
annual,
on.
comes around
Yep,
every
so
year
we are
in
taking
January.
separate
we have to
action
do
on
this.
that. Okay, any further discussion, questions? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed, the same. Thank you.
Okay, sounds good, thank you.
Transportation projects, website publication.
Mr. Chairman, this is generally presented by Engineer Bergman. This is every year we do this. This allows him to use websites and trade journals as alternates to solicit bids, request information for proposals, and also utilize the Pipestone County website to do that as well. So construction projects, maintenance projects, he's able to advertise electronically is really what we're doing. This is an annual. I recommend no changes and approve as presented.
Okay, very good. Is there a motion to approve as presented?
So move.
Okay, as a second?
Second.
Okay, moved and seconded. Any further discussion or questions? Hearing none, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, the same. Passes unanimously. Okay. We need to approve the 2023 mileage reimbursement rate, and as you said, there'd been a typo on that, so the rate is 0.655 cents per mile, and this follows the IRS guidelines.
Correct, and you have a copy of that right in your packet as well.
You gotta take off, Luke?
Yeah.
Finally, the IRS got the information to us, what they were going to do, and decided on January 1st, 2023, the standard rates for use of a car, and the county follows the federal rate, so we would increase ours from 62.5 to 65.5 would be the recommendation for the year 2023.
Very good. This does require action, so is there a motion to approve this mileage reimbursement rate to 2.655?
So moved.
Okay, it's been moved, and is there a second?
I'll second.
Doug second. Okay, further discussion or questions? Hearing none, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, the same. Passes unanimously. The 2022 meal allowance reimbursement rate, we'd increased that, was that last year? We increased it from 25 to 50, I believe.
I went from 40 to 50, Mr.
40 to
Chairman.
50. And really no reason, unless anybody has any other opinion, change it again this year. We'll stay at the 50. Okay,
Mr. Chair, move for approval.
okay, been moved. I'll second that we stay at 50. Further discussion or questions? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed, the same. Passed unanimously. Okay, guidelines for requested board resolutions and proclamations. Can you give us some insight on this, Steve?
This is our second year of doing this proposal. This came out of AMC around the county. There have been, around the state, I should say, there have been counties that have been, in some cases, inundated with requesting that counties take action or affirmative action on things that don't have any per diem, not in our wheelhouse, if you will, that we have no ability to change or affect change on it.
Not part of our jurisdiction.
Right. There've been incidents regarding Second Amendment, right to carry firearms and things like that, and trying to get county boards to resolutions and approve or disapprove and all that. And there's nothing that we can do to change that. So the whole idea was this, is to keep us in our lane to what county boards can do and not get sidetracked into other items where we really shouldn't, and you end up getting mired down, that type of thing. And so many counties around the state have enacted this over the past 3-4 years and taken action on this. And matter of fact, several times a year I get requests to take a look at what we've done and other counties have done too. So it's just seems to be good practice on it to keep us where we need to be and not get involved in things that we cannot affect change on. And if the items do come up, as we refer to this, and we're not gonna make resolutions that affect, a very small group or special interest, that type of thing that we're trying to do here. So it's, what we're trying to do is, even in statement 2, resolutions about state policy that are directly and explicitly related to county budget programs and services. Those are where we should be dealing with things. So, and on the back page, we are not going to do proclamations or interest for things that express an opinion on matters of political or ideological controversy, expressing an opinion on issues generally identified and known as supported by one political party and or opposed by another. expressing an opinion of position on topic that have no direct or unambiguous and explicit relationships to county programs, services, policies, or budgets. Events and organizations with no explicit or unambiguous relationship to the counties, again, programs, services, policies, or budgets, and campaigns and events contrary to county policies as well. So recommend approval of this for 2023, and this will come around each year as well, and be an annual,
Absolutely. Yep.
annual motion.
Very good. Thank you for that explanation, that clarification.
Certainly.
So,
Mr. Chair, move the guidelines for requested board resolutions and proclamations for 2023.
been moved and Wildermuth will second. So moved and seconded. Any further discussion or questions?
Some of this was related to election questions.
Yep.
Yes.
From other counties, so this explains it a little more.
Hearing no further questions or comments, all in favor? Aye.
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 Anyone opposed, the same. Passes unanimously.
Chairman, you have the backside of your agenda there. We're at the consent agenda portion of the meeting.
You've all received a copy of the consent agenda then that Auditor Treasurer Sandy presented to us. There were no add-ons to that.
All we have is auditor's warrants, Mr. Chair. County Commissioner warrants will be presented next Tuesday.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, move for approval.
Okay.
Support.
Moved and supported to approve the auditor warrants then for 12/30/22. Any further discussion or questions? Hearing none, all in favor, aye. Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, the same. Passes unanimously. Okay, at 9:30, oh, we've gone past 9:30 already.
Mr. Chairman, we have item number 2 there. Approve the minutes of December 13th,
Oh.
22, please.
Thank you, Steve, I missed that, yep. You also received in your packet a copy of the minutes of our last meeting, 12/13. Had a chance to go through those. Any corrections to those? Not, I'd entertain a motion to approve those minutes as presented.
So move.
Okay, it's been moved and, is there a second?
Second.
Second, Doug, thank you. Any further questions or discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, aye. Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, the same. Passes unanimously. Okay, now, Keith was not able to be with us, so Tyler, you said that you were going to present for us?
Sorry about the delay, sir.
All right, good morning, gentlemen.
Morning.
Sorry if I look tired. I got called in the middle of the night. I've been working ever since, so I'm a little sluggish. So I
You look pretty
apologize.
chipper to me.
You guys should have a copy of ACH or Advanced Correctional Healthcare's proposal that they gave to us. This would be a similar company that would work in the same aspect as Mend. They'll have a nurse on site in their proposal for 4 hours a week. We'd have 24/7 on call as needed for medical, mental health, emergency mental health if needed. Staff training, some staff training is included in this price as well. They have their price at $73,499. There's also a quick startup fee, which is 2 weeks contract price. So at my math, that'd be just shy of $2,850. So that would bring the total first year cost to about $76,349. We budgeted this year $50,000. That was Men's contract price, what it was going to cost us. As I stated before, when we advised you guys that Men went bankrupt, I'm actually fairly happy with this price because a lot of other counties, ACH bumped their price way up, and I believe this is only about $1,500 to $2,500 higher than what they quoted us last spring. There's some counties that they're getting 150% increase from their last quote. So I was pleasantly surprised with that. I was expecting it to be more, honestly. The sheriff's office would recommend approving and going forward with them. Cottonwood County has already joined them. Nobles County has joined them, and I'm sure there's more to follow. And this is as of 2 weeks ago. I'm sure more people already have.
Very good, Tyler. So Tyler, then the Sheriff's Department recommends that we approve this. Is there a motion to approve this contract?
So move, it's gotta be done.
That's moved and
Seconded.
seconded. The shortfall then from your budget, you had 50,000 budget, it's gonna be in excess of that by about $27,350. Are you
Give
gonna
or
be able to
take.
absorb that in your budget? You got some, how we gonna
We'll
come
do the best we can. Yeah. There's unfortunately in our budget, as you guys probably know, there's a lot of stuff that just has to be done, and like there's no way around it. So that's the struggles, but we try the best we can. So.
Is it gonna cause a financial hardship for your department having to come up with the shortfall? Are we gonna be looking at some of our reserves?
We'll look at it at the end of the year next year and see where we are as a whole, not necessarily the department, because departments will fluctuate throughout the year. The budget is an estimate of what we think is gonna happen, and we did our best to and try to think about inflation. But as far as this goes, we're already budgeted partially for it. Having this, my estimation, is still cheaper than having to send all of our inmates to other counties and pay their daily rate over time, which is gonna be, would be more expensive. So I'm just thankful that we have a company that's stepping in to help us with this. So otherwise we would be not in operation, correct?
Right. We found out that was just about a year ago. Just the logistics alone of getting people to places, let alone the cost of it as well at other jails. I mean, it's astronomical.
We did follow up then with Brad Burris from Pipestone County Medical Center as well too, again, on the whole thing with a bear not be able to do the coverage and so forth. And yes, frustrating as it is, it looks like it is what it is. So, yep. Very good. Well, thank you, Tyler, for that.
Thanks,
Appreciate
gentlemen.
that. So there's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Okay, hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Aye. And anyone opposed, the same. Passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tom.
Any other business that we need to address at this point?
Have nothing, anything from personnel? Everything else can wait till next Tuesday, and right now the agenda's looking very short.
Very short?
Short.
Okay.
Committee reports next Tuesday.
We'll do committee reports next week.
Yep.
And our regular Tuesday meeting date on the 10th.
Yep.
So 10th and 24th. Commissioner Nagel and myself will be gone the Wednesday, the 25th to the 27th, to new commissioners
Orientation.
training up in St. Paul.
Yep.
And then a reminder that you have the AMC conference next month. I do have rooms and registrations for those that wish to go, already taken care of.
Yep.
Just a reminder for the whole board about the campaign finance thing.
Yep. I think by the end of January, I think is what the letter says. Yep.
But don't be late.
No. No.
I get that annually from the state. I put it in your boxes. You also do get it in your
I got
mail
a
as
mail,
well. So
another
it's just,
mail, so.
they're just asking basically just to double down and make sure you're seeing the information, so.
It's easy.
So-
Yep, it's easy.
Some of the improprieties that they found are, this is what they prosecute them on too.
Yep.
Because it wasn't reported correctly, so.
You mentioned new commissioner training, then also yesterday at Prime West, then Doug will be doing new commissioner training.
Next
at Prime
month,
West next
yeah.
month. Jim Prisbo will spend a little bit of time going through some of that as well too, so. Then also through AMC, have you seen some of the other AMC ones that they have there? There's a number of those. They call it boot camp. I think Chris and I
Yeah,
did.
and I
went to
am
that one.
doing that.
Those are the good ones, so, okay. Very good. And then, like I said, the other meetings are all listed here, these 4 meetings, upcoming meetings, we talked about those, so, okay. What, entertain a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Moved and seconded, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Thank you, gentlemen.
There's only motion all day is to adjourn.
Very quick, doesn't it?
That's right.
Welcome, Doug.
Thanks.
We're glad to have you on board.
Doug and
with your
Jan,
wealth
Ken.
of knowledge and so forth.
And Doug, you'll be moving to Dan's slot. I'll switch around the nameplate, so you'll take.
Is that where that key, you gave me a key to a drawer? Is
The
that-
key to the drawer is, you'll switch with Dan's key.
Dan's gotta clean out here first.
Yep, yep.
Okay.
Move.
He is in the bottom here somewhere.